Stephanie Eller was a little put out. She and Mary Beth Holcomb and Judy Price were supposed to go shopping at a large mall 40 miles away. Both Mary Beth and Judy had the flu, so the trip was off. She headed home. At home, her husband, Pete, was reading the paper. He was wearing a bra and panties, a slip, nylons, high heels, a wig, and his favorite dress. It was light blue satin lace-trimmed affair that felt so great on him. He didn't hear the garage door open but heard the back door open and close. He knew he had to hide. He couldn't make it to the bedroom without being seen. He picked the front closet. He hid in there. He heard her call out to him. She figured he was down in the basement working on one of his projects. She saw the paper lying there. She sat down, turned the TV on, and started reading the paper. After about a half hour, he slowly opened the door and peeked out. He saw her sitting there reading the paper. He knew he couldn't get past her without her seeing him. He closed the door. A half hour later, he peeked out again. She was gone. He slowly and quietly checked the kitchen area. He didn't see her. He headed for the bedroom. He entered the bedroom and immediately heard, "Who are you? What are you doing in my bedroom? Is that you, Pete?" He was caught. Stephanie looked and couldn't believe what she was looking at. Her husband wearing a dress. Her anger flared up. She was really mad. "I'll get out of these clothes right away." "No. Stay in them. You must have been planning on wearing them a lot longer than now so you can wear them. What other women's clothing do you have?" "One more bra, 2 panties, and 2 dresses." "I am sorry. I don't know why I wear dresses. I just do it is all. It isn't hurting anyone. Can you forgive me? Only if you agree to do as I tell you. I expect you to do things and to obey without any backtalk. Do you agree to that?" Knowing he had no choice, he agreed. She told him she wanted to see his other dresses. He showed her the one he had on was the fanciest. She asked him where he got the dresses and the wig. He told her he got everything at the thrift store on 5th. She was mad and knew it. She wanted to show him she was mad and to punish him for wearing dresses. She handed him a tube of lipstick, telling him to go put it on, that a woman never goes out without putting on lipstick. He was putting the lipstick on and wondered what she meant about going out. He couldn't go out like this. He had it on and went into the kitchen area by her. She told him he looked just darling and to come along with her. He asked where they were going and she said to just pick up some things. She repeated that he should come with her. He knew by her tone of voice he better do as she says or else. He was in the car and she was driving. She drove to the mall and parked the car. He didn't want to get out, but she told him in no uncertain terms that he would get out and go with her. He got out. In the mall, he thought everyone was looking at him. He was feeling jittery. She took him into a women's clothing store. There she had him try on 4 dresses. She liked the 3rd one and they bought it. Then it was a Notions Plus store that she told him she really liked. There she got him a purse, a wallet, a bracelet, and matching necklace. Then she saw a jewelry box that she said she just knew he had to have. He wondered how far she was going to take this. Then it was another women's clothing store. There he watched as she picked up 5 pair of pantyhose for him. Then it was fancy nightgowns which she knew would look darling on him. She then looked at everything in the store. He followed close behind her. She found 4 long line bras for him and a girdle to hold his stomach in. They checked out and left the store. He told her his legs were starting to ache. She told him he should have bought some flats instead of those heels. She walked on and he followed her. She stopped at a Victoria's Secret store and found him 6 pair of panties, all with a lot of lace or bows on them. Then she asked him his bra size and he told her. She found 5 fancy, very feminine bras which she said she knew he couldn't wait to wear. He was thinking this was too harsh a punishment. He told her so. You want to wear dresses, don't you? Well, you can and will, but you will wear everything that goes with them. You have a good start, but you need more if you are going to wear dresses. Are you talking wearing dresses all the time? You got it, bub. You can't be serious. How can you do this to me? You're the one I saw in that dress you have on right now, aren't you? Yes, but let me explain. There is no need to explain. I understand and I am going to give it to you whether you like it or not. Now stop your whining or you will really get me mad. He knew she wasn't about to listen to his explanation. He followed silently behind her. He again complained that his legs ached. Stephanie told him they would rest in a minute. She led him to the food court where she asked him what he wanted. He told her he wanted a cheeseburger and something to drink. He wasn't really hungry. She had gotten their food and they were eating. She asked, "So, tell me, do you have a feminine name?" "No, I never thought about it." "Why would I need a feminine name? Do you want me to call you Peter when you are dressed like that?" "No, I guess you are right. I can't think of any feminine names right now." "That's all right, I know just the perfect name for you. Rebecca, that is perfect for you. There is no male counterpart. It is really feminine. So, Rebecca, are you going to thank me for picking you such a nice name?" "Thank you for picking a nice name for me." She knew she had him but had him good. She wondered how she could humiliate him further. Then she knew just what to do. They finished eating and she led him to another women's clothing store that was known for having moderate-priced dresses. There she had him trying on dresses for almost an hour. In the end she picked out 10 dresses for him. All were very feminine. She told him to pay with his credit card and to tell the cashier that the dresses were for him and that he was a man. At the checkout he did as instructed. He felt embarrassed to do it but knew he'd better do it. Next it was a shoe store. There she found him 3 pair of heels. He asked about getting some flats and she said he didn't need them as he'd never gotten any before. Then she saw a white patent leather knee-high boot with a 4-inch heel. She asked the clerk if they had it in his size. The clerk went in back and quickly came out carrying a box. He had to try them on and walk around in them. Stephanie told the clerk they would take them and that he would wear them out of the store. She knew that women wearing boots got specially noticed. He felt silly wearing the boots. Stephanie told him he was starting to look sexy. A man came up alongside him and said he loved his boots. He told the man to buzz off, and the man dropped back. They were passing a beauty parlor that had a sign that said "Walk-ins welcome." She had him follow her in there. She talked to a woman for quite a while. Then the woman came to him and told him to follow her. He did, not knowing what was going on. 2.5 hours later he was done. His hair was blonde, with long extensions and curled to look cute, and his eyebrows were high and thin, and his face was beautifully made up. Stephanie was waiting for him. She was carrying 4 bags that he knew she had gotten for him. The woman told Stephanie that he was a doll to work on. The woman told him to come back anytime. They were on their way home and Stephanie asked, "Did the woman show you how to put on your makeup?" "Yes, she did. All it takes is time." It isn't hard to do, but why do I have to wear makeup? Because makeup goes with everything else you are wearing. So get used to it. He was wondering if there was a way out of this. She pulled into a parking lot of a big drugstore. They went in and she told him he could pick out what makeup he wanted or that she would pick it out. He picked 5 different colors of lipstick, foundation that red suntan, an eyeliner pencil and a multicolored eyeshadow kit. She told him he needed blush and he picked some out. Stephanie told him he also needed nail polish for his toes and fingernails. He picked 6 different colors. She saw kits that had false nails and adhesive. She picked the longest ones and handed it to him. She handed him nail polish remover and pads to remove it. Then she took him by the perfume counter, telling him a woman has to smell nice. He picked a package that had 4 different perfumes in it. She was feeling less mad at him now, but was still miffed at him. They were heading home and she saw a Western supply store she had never seen before. She pulled in and told Rebecca to stay in the car. She was only in there for 5 minutes when she came out carrying a bag. He wondered what she found to buy in there. She put the bag in the back seat and told him to come inside. Inside she had him try on a square dance dress with a short skirt and many-layered petticoat. He said he didn't need another dress and she told him he needed every style so he could choose how he felt and could pick a dress to match his feelings. They ended up buying 2 dresses, one a red and white checked with lace and the other a baby blue one with fancy piping on it. He was now wondering just how long this was going to last. They got home and Stephanie grabbed the bag from the Western store and told him to put away everything else. She told him he might as well pack up his men's clothes so he would have room for his new clothes. He was packing his old clothes and thinking at least she was sounding less mad now. Maybe when she thinks things out, she will say to forget everything and to go back to his men's clothes. It took him almost 2 hours to get everything put where it should be. His men's clothes were packed in 4 boxes and put in the basement storage room. He went and told her everything was put away. She told him to vacuum the carpeting in the house. He got the vacuum and started in on the bedrooms. When he was doing the living room, Stephanie lifted her feet so he could do that part of the carpet. He finished the carpeting and Stephanie asked him what he was going to make for supper. He told her he had to look and see what they had. He made pork steak browned, then simmered in pineapple and pineapple juice, potatoes and green beans. He called her when supper was ready. They were eating when she said, "Rebecca, I like it when you do the house cleaning and when you cook, so now you can do it always. Also, I know you know how to use the clothes washer and dryer so you can do the laundry. There will be other things I may want you to do, but I will let you know what and when." He asked what she was going to do. She told him she had to check on everything he did to make sure he did it right. Then she laughed and said she had the most responsible job to do. He felt his stomach jump. After supper she had him sit at the table and she put the false nails on his fingers. He had never worn his nails that long before. She applied candy apple red to his fingernails. When she was done he looked at them and thought they didn't look bad. The next day being Sunday they usually slept late, but he was up early. In his nightgown he got the Sunday paper in. Then made a pot of coffee. He sat down to read the paper. He was reading and turned a page and saw a 2-page ad for Gosha's clothing store. It said 50% off all dresses and shoes. He wondered if he should go there and get some flats to wear. The coffee was ready so he got a cup. He heard the neighbor's dog barking. He figured the other neighbor's cat was out and the dog had seen it. He read the news and sports sections. Having finished that first cup of coffee, he went to get dressed. Then he figured he would first do his makeup. It didn't look great to him, but it didn't look bad either. He put on his new underwear and slip, then put on the yellow sundress. It had wide shoulder straps that were trimmed with a ruffle on both sides. He looked at himself in the mirror. He didn't think he looked half bad. Stephanie came out when he was on his third cup of coffee. She got a cup and sat down. She looked at him and wondered how he was feeling in that dress. "I think today we should go to Baxter's for brunch. How does that sound? I know you like it there and they do have a great brunch. I don't think we should go. I can make you breakfast right here. What do you have a taste for?" "I have a taste for Baxter's. We always go for brunch on Sundays and we are going today." Mid-morning and they were headed for Baxter's. He wondered if anyone would recognize him. He had an uneasy feeling that something would happen. They weren't in there 2 minutes when Josh Hunter saw him. In a loud voice, Josh asked him why he was wearing a dress. He told Josh in a harsh voice it was because he felt like it. Josh quieted down right away. They enjoyed the brunch. He saw people who were clients of his and noticed that they didn't seem to recognize him. He started to relax a little. They had finished and in the car Stephanie asked, "Becca, is there any place you want to go?" "Yes, I would like to go to Gosha's store. They have a big sale on." She was surprised that he wanted to go anywhere besides home. She drove to Gosha's. Inside he headed for the shoes. He found a black, a white and a red pair. All were flats that he tried on and were comfortable. Then he slowly walked through the dresses. On one rack he saw a white dress that was trimmed with little beads. It looked like an Indian dress. He was 1/4 Cherokee and something inside of him told him to get it. He put it in his cart and headed back to the shoes. There he found a pair of white moccasins with beading on them to match the dress. He felt happier than he had felt since this all began. He checked out and the cashier said she was sure he would love the dress. He said he knew he would and thanked her. At home he asked if he could try on his new dress. She hadn't known he had bought another dress and told him she would love to see what he'd bought. He went and changed into the dress and moccasins. When he entered the living room, Stephanie told him the dress was beautiful. Then she saw the moccasins and asked why he wasn't wearing heels. She told him to go put on his heels. He said he wouldn't, that the moccasins went with the dress. She knew by his tone of voice he was going to keep them on. She told him to keep them on then. He felt better, having won the discussion. He felt wonderful wearing the dress. He wondered if she was going to send him to work tomorrow wearing a dress. He decided that if she did he would make the most of it. The next morning Stephanie told him to get his makeup on. He went to put it on and knew she intended for him to wear a dress to work. He got the makeup on and got dressed in the rose-colored full-skirted dress with the upper part trimmed with a wide white lace. He wore the black heels with suntan pantyhose. He loved how the pantyhose had that shine to them. He had his breakfast and was arriving at work. He owned an insurance agency with 6 women as employees. The first to see him was Josie, who was his secretary. "What the heck? Why are you wearing a dress? It's all my wife's doing. I can't even get her to listen to me. You poor dear. I know she can be stubborn. How long do you think before she changes her mind? I have no idea. She can drag things out, you know." "Yes, I know that. I am sorry for you, but that is a very pretty dress and you look great with the makeup and all." "Thank you. Any calls this morning?" "No, it's been real quiet. I will be in my office." Mid-morning Sue Morgan came in to give him an accident report. She asked why he was wearing a dress and he told her it was all his wife's idea. She laughed and told him to tell his wife she loves it. He said he would. At noon, 3 women clients came in to check on their coverage. All 3 looked at him and laughed. He was blushing big time. He heard them mention Sue, and thought, who does she think she is, Paul Revere? In the afternoon, there were a half-dozen more women who came in for trivial reasons. All laughed when they saw him. He knew Sue Morgan had a hand in this too. He got home and Stephanie asked, "Well, Becca, how was your day?" It was definitely different. Sue Morgan came in this morning and wanted to know why I was wearing a dress. I told her and she said she loved it. She must have called half the town because at noon we started getting busy, all women that wanted to see me for trivial matters. What did you tell them was the reason you were wearing dresses? I tell them it's your doing. It is, you know. You are the one making me wear dresses. Did you tell them I caught you wearing a dress? No, that was something that I did, but you took it further than I ever wanted to go. I am going to change into something more comfortable. He went to the bedroom and when he returned he was still wearing the same dress. He was, however, wearing the white flats. Yesterday it was moccasins and today it is flats. How many pair did you buy? I got a black, a red, these white flats, and the moccasins. I am going to wear them. I am not going to wear heels all the time. She decided to let him wear what shoes he wanted. She had never heard him raise his voice before. As they were getting ready for bed she said, "I am going to let you wear the flats, but only in the house. The fact that you bought them without asking me is another matter. You have to be punished for that. Now bend over the end of the bed." He did as she said and wondered what she was up to. She approached him and lifted his nightgown and pulled down his panties. She slowly drew a riding crop over his rear end. "This is what I found at that Western store. It is a riding crop. I am going to give you 5 strokes with it. Tomorrow night you will get 10 strokes. You will have all day tomorrow to think about it. Now, don't move or I will have to repeat the strokes." She brought down the first stroke. He didn't think he could take 5 strokes. She brought down the second stroke and his eyes teared up. The third stroke he was crying. The fourth stroke he was crying out loud and said to stop it. She gave him the 5th stroke and told him to get his panties up and get into bed. He crawled into bed and laid on his stomach. His rear felt like it was on fire. He fell asleep after about 15 minutes. When he awoke the next morning his rear still hurt. He got ready for work and stood to drink his coffee. Stephanie saw him standing and knew he still felt it in his rear end. That is a wonderful whip. Don't you think? No, I don't. I don't think it is necessary to whip me like that. You bought those flats without asking me as if it was all right. You deserve to be punished. Just think tonight it will be all over. I just might not come home tonight. You will come home or I will come find you. He left for work. It hurt to sit and drive. At the office he stood as much as possible. When he sat it hurt, but the hurt was subsiding a bit. At the end of the day he went home. That night at bedtime Stephanie told him to bend over the end of the bed. By the 4th stroke he was begging her to stop. She continued. When she was done she looked at his rear. You know your rear is the prettiest shade of purple now. I am sorry I got carried away and gave you 12 strokes instead of 10, so I owe you 2 strokes. He laid on his stomach. During the night he turned over and when his rear hit the sheet he woke up right away. The pain was terrible. He wondered how long it was going to take to go away. The next morning he could hardly move. Every step made the pain worse. He finally was dressed and ready for work. He had 1 cup of coffee and left before Stephanie was up. By mid-morning he thought the pain was worse than he'd figured it was because of how long it had been since the punishment. At noon, he was sure it was worse. By 2 o'clock he called the doctor to see if he could get in. They told him that if he could get there in a half hour the doctor would see him. He told them he would be there. He was in Dr. Wilson's office standing in the waiting room when the nurse called him. He followed her to the examination room. The nurse told him to sit down and he said he would rather stand. She told him he had to be sitting so she could take his vitals. He sat down real slowly. She got his vitals and told him the doctor would be in right away. Dr. Wilson came in and he told the doctor his rear is severely hurting. He also said he thought it was hurting more than before. The doctor told him to pull up his dress and he would look at his rear. When he looked, he asked who did that to him. He told the doctor that his wife did that to him and that she must have a hair up her nose or something. The doctor told him it was infected and would have to be drained. He told him he would give him a shot in his rear to help with the pain. The doctor asked how he could get a hold of his wife. He got the phone number. The doctor gave him 2 shots in his rear. Then said he would wait until they took effect. He heard the doctor on the phone. "Mrs. Ellis, this is Dr. Wilson. I am examining your husband's rear end. He has a severe infection. I understand you beat him with a riding crop. That is physical abuse. I should send him to a domestic abuse shelter, but I will not this time. You are making him wear dresses, and that is mental and psychological abuse. You managed to hit all 3. I am telling you, if he comes in here tomorrow and things haven't changed, I will report you to the authorities. Now think it over. Goodbye." He couldn't believe what the doctor said to his wife. He loved it though. He wondered what she would do now. The doctor lanced the welts and pockets of infection. Then he had his nurse rub some ointment on his rear and put a bandage on it. The doctor told him he would see him tomorrow to see if there were more spots to lance. He was leaving and had an appointment for 10 in the morning. By the time he got home, his rear didn't hurt. He started supper. Stephanie came in and when she saw him she started to cry. He asked her what was wrong. Sobbing, she said, "Before the doctor called I was wondering if I hadn't go too far. Then the doctor called and I realized I'd never thought about what I was doing to you. I am really sorry. I never ever thought I was really hurting you except for the whipping. The whipping I didn't think would hurt you that bad. You can change into your men's clothes. I really am very, very sorry. Can you forgive me? I don't know. It might take a while. I hope I can forgive you, but right now it is too fresh in my mind to forgive you. I can forgive having to wear a dress, but the riding crop I have a problem forgiving. I am sure sometime I will forgive for that because you are my wife and I love you. I will accept your love. That makes me feel better. I know it is going to take some time for full forgiveness and I accept that. I know I could have destroyed our marriage and I am thankful you still love me. I never thought about all the things affected by what I did. You must remember that every action has a domino effect. We don't always realize what that effect will be. You affected my staff and quite a few of my clients, plus the effect it had on me. I know that now, but I never thought about it before. You must believe me that I am sorry. I believe you are sorry, but like I said, it will take me some time to get over it. She was still sobbing as she left to change into more comfortable clothes. He was just about to get tears in his eyes because it was all over. At supper, she asked how his day was. He told her all about his doctor's visit and that he had to go back tomorrow. He asked if they had gotten the new computer program straightened out, and she said today she didn't have any trouble with it. She said it makes her job a lot easier than the last program did. She said the last program liked to freeze up her computer. After supper, he was sitting in his recliner and the pain started to come back in his rear end. He had gotten his clothes up from the basement and had them put away. He stood up and the pain lessened. He told her he was going to read on the bed. The next day he wore his favorite sport coat and slacks. He felt like he was on top of the world. He was having his morning coffee and Stephanie came out. She was sitting at the table sipping her coffee. "I've been thinking. It is all right with me if you want to wear dresses at home. I can live with that. I don't want you sneaking around doing it. You did look wonderful in some of those dresses, you know." "Thank you. I know that was a hard decision for you to make. I appreciate it. I think it will be a while before I will want to wear a dress." Later that morning in Dr. Wilson's office, he told Dr. Wilson that now, while his wife was regretting what she'd done, might be the time to get that new fishing boat and motor he'd been looking at. They both laughed. Dr. Wilson told him that in a few days he should be all healed up. He was glad to hear that. Back in his office, he noticed his rear now only felt numb and a bit itchy. He knew he was recovering from the beating. He thought about Stephanie and knew she was sorry and wondered if he should tell her she was forgiven. He knew he loved her more than anything else. That night at supper he said, "Dear, I love you more than anything else. I can forgive you. I know I will get over it pretty soon." She got up and gave him a passionate kiss and told him thank you. He told her he was glad it was all over. She agreed with him.